What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Quantizer. In this video, we're going to go over how to connect to a Raspberry Pi using a serial cable so we can get terminal access without needing any sort of networking equipment. We're going to go over how to flash the device, then how to configure the device, how to connect the serial cable up, so show you where the pin should go, and then lastly, we're going to power on the device and actually connect to the device and move around in the shell a little bit. So let's show you how to do that. Before we jump in, if you like this kind of information, be sure to visit us at thequantizer.com, where we have a lot of tools and tutorials and things like that that you might find useful. And also like and subscribe so you can be alerted when our new content comes out. The first thing you need to do is to image the disk. And so we're going to come over here with the Raspberry Pi imager, and we're going to choose the Raspberry Pi OS, the SD card, and then be sure to click this advanced settings button down here. That way we can set up a username and password, because they don't do that by default anymore. So I'm just going to add that in right here. And then I'm also going to enable SSH and the host name. Let's press save and then write it. The next step is to configure the Raspberry Pi to enable UART. And so I'm going to grab some commands from thequantizer.com. Links will be down in the description for the tutorial that talks about all this. So this first one takes us over into the directory that the Raspberry Pi SD card is mounted into. And this second one here will append the configuration to config.txt. I'm going to go ahead and cat, which is going to print out the file of config.txt, and you can see there it is at the end, the enable UART. So with that, we can eject the SD card, put it in the Raspberry Pi, and move on to the next step. In this step, we're going to connect the serial cable to the Raspberry Pi. All we have to do is connect the ground, TX, and RX, and for a diagram of that, you can go to thequantizer.com to get more information. But with those connected, we can move on to the next step. Now we need to plug in the serial device into the USB of our computer. And with that plugged in, we can go look to see what the device name is. And ours is this USB serial one right there. So we're going to go ahead and use the screen command. And at the end of this, you can see we have that 115200. That's the baud rate. And so that opens up the connection. And now we can move on to the last bit, and that's to plug in the device and see the data come in. Okay, looks like it needed to reboot, but once it did, I was able to get the prompt up here. So now we can type in that username and password we configured, and we've got access. How cool is that?